Welcome to Firewood, fella. What an insane year of sales. The best I've ever done. So I just finished up doing my last deliveries for the 2025 season because I am completely sold out of dry seasoned firewood. All these racks are empty, need to get filled up for the upcoming year, and that will be happening in the next upcoming weeks and months. So I was going through the numbers after finishing up my deliveries for the year and just realizing how much wood I actually sold, because I don't really keep track before up until this year. And I went through all the numbers and everything, and I sold 28 full cords of seasoned dry firewood. And people might be asking how I managed to do that, because it's a lot of wood, especially when my yard can only hold 20 cords at a time as it sits right now. I don't sit on my wood for longer than I have to do. I was turning around ash in about a month's time. I was turning around maple in 6 months. And so last year I bought a log truck from a logger down the road from me, and it was all the oversized stuff that he had in his yard. And I started cutting on it in September and a little bit in October. And then between moving and hunting season, I didn't really get a chance to get going at it again until like December. From December on, I ended up finishing up all of that oak into March, was the last of the oak that I split up from that log truck. So March all the way until November, about 9 months, it was seasoned and it was dry already, because it was oversized stuff, mostly barkless pieces. And I split my wood small enough, about handheld size, stuff like this, as people like to call them, toothpicks. They dry faster. So from that log truck last year, I had almost 11 full cords of oak that was drying from these racks, this going that way, and there might have been some over here, I don't remember. But all the oak that it's sitting here now, this rack, and those racks back there, are all from the first half of the log truck that I purchased when Chris was here with the processor. And we got about over 4 full cords out of that first pile that we ended up stacking so far. So I already got some oak ready for next year here, as you can see. And we got some more empty racks here that we got to get filled up, and hopefully keep expanding the wood yard going that way to make even more room for more wood. Because as it stands here, we got about 20 full cords worth of racks I can end up keeping in here. But I would like to be able to keep more, because I sold 28 and I ran out of wood, and it's only November. We haven't even gotten to the peak of heating season. So I gotta up my production even more. So I would like to up my production. My goal for this upcoming season is gonna be 30 cords, 30 full cords. But I don't know how much more I wanna do than that. I already work a ton as it is with a full-time job and doing this and YouTube. And I have some toys that I would like to go play with, an ATV, and just recently got a new snowmobile. So I'm hoping I can spend some time on some weekends not working for once, and spend some time enjoying the outdoors, doing things like that, and also doing some hunting, because I've not been able to do much of that this season either. It's all about a balance of work and pleasure. And I've been working a lot. So my first 4 racks right here, cherry, and I split it in a certain way so it would all be barkless, in order to try and attempt to sell cherry smoking bundles this upcoming season, to add another product to my business, to be able to increase some profit in my business by doing some smoking bundles. And I'm hoping to kind of extend that into some hickory once I end up getting my hands on some more of that. So behind these first 4 rows, there's also cherry that has bark on it that I'm going to try and sell as a top-end product for people that want to have campfires with cherry. And I got some customers that are demanding cherry, and I'm going to charge even more for the cherry than I do the mixed hardwood, because I don't get a lot of it. So my quantity is very limited. I was very fortunate enough this past spring, in order to be working with a local farmer, helping him take down a tree line, to be able to get this cherry. And it only took me 6 months to get the split at it, but that's a different story. So right here is a big pile of locusts. I already got a small pile of locust here. We're gonna fill that up and probably, I would say, maybe get 2 face cords of locust out of this. And we got a ton of maple here and a lot of big pieces of maple as well. And we got more maple and birch, and all this is gonna be for my campfire wood for next year. And all this wood is gonna end up in these first couple racks here empty. So right behind me here is all the work I have to do yet this year, or into next year. And some of it's a priority and some of it's not. Right in front of me here is all of the rejects off the second log truck of oak. And all this oak is all treetops, so it's very crooked. It's got bark on it. They're a fresh cut green. So I don't know how quickly this stuff's gonna dry out. So my main focus is to try and get this stuff split up and cut as soon as possible, just so it can start drying for next year. The maple, it's already cut, just needs to get split. I'd like to get that done as well pretty quickly here and get that going so I can try and get that turned around for all the people that I sell to for camping wood. So then behind the oak here is all of the maple that I took down from my parents' tree in the front yard. And we have to take down another maple in the front yard as well that's dying. So all the smaller limb wood size pieces I'm going to mix in with the maple from the tree service, just so they get a good variety of sizes, because I don't want to sell whole face cords of all limb wood pieces. I want to have some nicer size stuff and some smaller stuff. So I'm going to work on mixing that in as well. I was able to get a hold of the cedar from my local logger who I get the oak from. So there's about 2 to 3 cords of cedar here, and my goal is to split this stuff up really small and use it for kindling, because I think this would be a great fire starter. Try to promoting some bundles of cedar to my campers so they have an easy way to start their campfires every weekend or in the fall, to all the people that have fireplaces and stuff like that, to be able to push towards them to start some fire starters and stuff like that for kindling. So behind me here is the mountain of firewood from the processor, from the Blockbuster 1520 HP that Chris brought out to the yard here, and we almost finished a whole semi-load. So there's probably, I want to say there's probably 6 to 8 cords of oak split here that needs to get stacked. My main concern was just to get this stuff split. We've got some snow that melted off here the other day, and it's been kind of misty here all day, so that's why the wood's kind of wet. It's been drying pretty nicely here in a pile, but I do want to get this stacked over here and work on building the woodyard this way and get more racks coming this way. But if this doesn't get stacked until spring, it's not a huge deal, but I would like to get going on it sooner than later. Daylight savings time is really putting a hindrance on what I can actually do after work, because I only have about an hour of daylight, and that doesn't include me driving back over here after work to be able to do anything. So this is what's left of that log truck that I purchased, so we'd have enough wood for Chris to work through here when he came and visited for 2 days. And this wood here is not great processor wood, so I'm thinking I'm gonna end up having to cut this all up by hand regardless. So I gotta work on that this winter as well. I sold 11 full cords of oak this year. I got 4 so far. So I'm hoping to get close to about 15 full cords of oak for this upcoming season, because I had people asking for oak, and I was able to convince them to take mixed hardwood as well. So there's just a lot of oak snobs in this area that just think that oak's the best firewood and refuses to burn anything else, when maple and other woods are just as good, especially if you're just looking for the ambiance of having a fire in your house. So these are my chunk bins, and this is what's been very difficult to sell this year. I was able to convince one of my firewood customers here that he wanted a full cord. I only had 1 face cord of oak left. And then he said he'll take a second one of mixed hardwood the day before I was going to deliver. And he was really appreciative of how nice and small the pieces were. But the one issue he was hoping to be able to fix was having some bigger chunks for overnighters and stuff like that. And I don't have anything like that of my pieces. So I showed him the pictures of the bins I got here, of the totes. So I was able to sell him one of these totes. He said he burns probably a full cord a year. So that should hold him over. Hopefully, it depends on how much he burns this year. He said he'll reach out to me if he needs another basket of totes or chunks. I just delivered the chunks yesterday, and he already asked when I start taking orders for the next year. And I said I usually start delivering sometime in April, typically for campers and stuff like that. And he asked how soon he can get a full cord of oak. And I said probably sometime in the spring or early summer. Because he said he wants to get me on the list right away to get a full cord of oak delivered before I run out again. Because he burned a little bit of my wood, and he said it burned great, didn't have any problems with getting it going. I like having repeat customers like that are already ordering for next season well in advance, hoping to get some wood sometime in May or June, and then he'll just sit on it on his property, which I love that because it frees up an extra rack I can fill up and possibly sell more wood or empty out the rack and start working on 2027's wood earlier than I expected. But I got plenty of more shorts and chunks to fill up. I'm hoping to sell these bins because all the offcuts from the processor are still laying on the ground or off to the side that I got one bin empty, but I'd like to get a couple of these bins emptied out before I fill them back in and bury them again. So I'm hoping I can try and convince a couple other people to possibly buy them, but I haven't had any luck. So that's hopefully one thing I want to work on in next year as well, is doing some more promoting on stuff like this. So I already got a decent start on some wood for camping of next year. Got about 2 full cords of mixed hardwood. Got a couple cords of cherry. I got 4 cords of oak that are drying as we speak here, getting ready for next year's wood. And one thing I've learned in this firewood business is that I can never be far enough ahead. I'm always behind. There's always wood that needs to get cut. There's always wood that needs to get split. And I don't think I'll ever get to the point where I can work a full-time job to pay my bills and run a firewood business big enough that I will never run out of wood every year. I don't think it's possible for me. I have the customer base to do more business. It's just how much work do I want to put into it. One thing I do want to get going for next year, some goals of mine, I think 30 full cords of wood is easily doable for what I'm able to do, especially after doing 28 this year, surprisingly. I would love to get up to 35 or 40, but I don't think I can manage to do that much. One thing that's on my list of things I will be hoping to get this upcoming year is a dump trailer, and that will speed things up tremendously to be able to accumulate wood, to be able to do deliveries a lot quicker, and not do as much handling of hand unloading like I do now and hand stacking into the trailer to do some of these deliveries like I have been doing. So that's kind of the recap of the 2025 season and some goals I'm hoping to achieve in 2026 here. Thanks for watching. Firewood Fellow, logging off.